And we're down a prince because Andrew is now not Prince, but Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. And so, my friends, we see with 2025 in this BaZi astrology reading how the fire penalty can really land a blow in a person's life. So welcome, my name is Lydia Griffith. This is Fire Horse Wisdom. I often like to cover current events and what's going on in politics and with famous people because I think it helps us to better understand our own astrology and the mechanics of BaZi astrology, also called Four Pillars. Many people don't know this path of astrology. Western astrology really dominates, where we're looking for, astrology information, I guess you could say. But really, BaZi astrology for me is the path that really helps me to understand my day-to-day life in a way that just feels a little bit more accessible to me. I tried studying Western astrology. It wasn't my language. What can I say? This is my language. That being said, I do like to weave the two together. I think it's an interesting thing because one is of the sky, and BaZi, also called Four Pillars astrology, is of the earth based on the 5 elements. And so we look at Prince Andrew, who is no longer a prince. So we look at Andrew's chart, born February 19th, 1960 at 3:30 in the afternoon. His 4 pillars, very cold chart he has, cold and dry. It's he's born in a yang metal rat year. That's somebody that has an overarching desire to accumulate. And often it has to do with accumulating wealth and having a lot of concern around wealth. For the average person, I would imagine that it could be a little bit of a anxiousness to accumulate wealth and to have enough that you're not in survival mode. Then you've got the month of a yang earth tiger because he's born in February, the start of the Lunar New Year. But his day pillar is an ox. So his year is a rat, which represents December, cold, wet water. And then we've got the day, ox, even though he is yin fire, like a little candle flame, that ox is the cold earth of winter. It's cold and hard ground. So it's interesting pairing that he's born in the spring, but his most personality driven pillars, the year, which is your overarching, and the day, which is you specifically, are really in wintertime. Then his hour is a yang earth monkey, the beginning of autumn. So anyway, seasons aside, this dude is a weak man because when we add up using our formulas, we find out that this dude, as a fireman, has only got 15%, which is just balanced. But the wood, which is the pattern of this chart, again, because he's born in the spring of the tiger, only 9%. So this is weak, and the pattern to his chart being weak is not such a good thing. His output, what he creates, is very strong at 36%. Metal, what he controls, is balanced at 22%, and water, what rules him, which is where his career is going to sit, balanced at 17%. Now, let's not forget why Mr. Andrew lost his crown. Pretty nasty allegations against him. And, you do bad things and the truth comes out and you're going to pay a price. At least most people do. Called karma. So yeah. And he lost his little castle too. Anyway. So the last time I said anything about this guy was when I did a reading about Epstein and the top people that have been accused of, suggested of being involved with Mr. Epstein, like Bill Clinton and our president, right? And Andrew. So you can check that video out if you're interested. I, like many people, are very curious to see what is actually in these files that have been dangled like a carrot in front of us all year with the promise of it being revealed. But do I sway from our story today? I don't know. And hey, if this sparks interest for you, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell. Don't want to miss a single video because our year of the horse is coming, my friends. You want to make sure that you are on your saddle, ready to ride with me into that blazing ball of fire of 2026. Whew. All right, so here's the real issue going on with this dude. And hey, this could be any one of us if you happen to have a tiger and a monkey in your 4 pillars. So if you don't know what your BaZi astrology is, there are links below for you to order your own reading with me. And also, because it's November now and we're getting close to 2026, for the next couple of few months, I like to throw in an extra bonus for anyone getting a reading of having your 2026 forecast as an added little bonus. Say, hey, let's sit down and do a reading. Let's do it. So, all right. Tiger is in his month. Hour of the monkey. Those two are enemies. The tiger is yang wood. The monkey is yang metal. So it shows that Andrew is somebody that through his career will be in opposition to his parents sitting in the month. It's almost like foreshadowing that at some point or many points in his career, he would go into opposition, conflict, and all that with his parents. So there's that. Okay. The other thing about this chart is that the rat in his year and that monkey in the hour form a semi-water trio. The rat and his ox form another trio. We have seasonal trios and we have traditional. He's got both for water. So that boosts his career up. That is helpful for his career. It is not helpful necessarily for being a stronger person. Again, he's got just enough fire and very little wood. So he's got all this water surging in, right? And the other piece to this was, this is another interesting piece. This very, very year, Andrew shifted luck cycles. Now, according to your birthday and time, we all go through these 10-year cycles. And a luck cycle can be that moment where the right elements or the right zodiac animal comes in and boom, skyrockets you to stardom. Could also be the end of a marriage. It could be the beginning of a great education. Can be many things, but this is how our lives become woven into a narrative of a soul's contract, your karmic journey in this life. And that's what I personally love, the storytelling of an astrology chart. All right, so I'm getting to the big, oh my God, of course he lost his title this year moment. Bear with me, we're almost there. So he shifts luck cycles. Where has he been, you might ask? And since the age of 55, he's now 65, a yang wood monkey that has been all about his mother, and she died. And sometimes Family members show up in luck cycles because something is going on with them. And at certain ages in our life, it is inevitable that there's going to be a death. This is also government and politics. That yang metal of the monkey speaks of wealth, of being acknowledged, recognized. It can be also his marriage or date or notable committed relationships. I don't know who he's been with long-term since Fergie, except for very young girls. Of course, I don't know exactly what age he was when all of that was going on, but this is also a luck cycle. And again, this is mirroring his career. That is about duty, family, responsibilities, work, home. And there is, especially when you look at his hour, a rebelliousness to this guy. He is smart. And again, he's been acknowledged and given awards or whatever in his life because of his smartness and his intelligence. But he's also somebody that is not afraid to go down the dark alley of life, not afraid to do something different, to be rebellious, to be kind of that middle child, if he is the middle child. Not so sure. Charles, Anne, Andrew. Was Andrew the baby? Anyway, so when we look at his hour, because this has been his luck cycle the last 10 years, magnifying his career, we can see that there is something going on with this rebelliousness, this almost like slant to want to try to do things differently. And the fact that family is in there with his career and his wealth and his fame and recognition and all the things. If I were to look at this chart with you, I would say, oh, are you in a family-owned business? Because that could be part of this. And he is, or was. So he is now this year shifted into a yin wood rooster. The yin wood sitting atop the rooster, just like his previous luck cycle, is in opposition of wood to metal. Okay. And this time that he's moved into shows that he is earning money, but it is on kind of like through different sources. Maybe it's investments or inheritances or whatever allowances he may still have, though it looks like he got stripped of pretty much everything. The yin wood speaks of like somebody that is learning, somebody who is maybe seeking spiritual guidance, spiritual advice, going to the church for support, somebody that might be going to find funding for projects, to make money. So it's like you go and you look for a bank loan in order to invest in something that's going to give you some residual income, that kind of setup, or a grant, a loan again. So anyway, the thing that's so interesting, that double monkey hanging around his career, in comes the year of the snake. Boom, boom, boom. Full fire penalty for this dude, hitting that tiger and monkey. And interesting again that this is also knocking his luck cycle down. Like, what a way to go out of a luck cycle. Hitting his career, impacting his relationship possibly with his girls, his daughters, and with his older siblings, his father. This is hitting his family. This full fire penalty, and absolutely his career. A full fire penalty. If you ask me, it's one of the most atrocious penalties or punishments that can come into a chart. It can bring divorce, slander, defamation, loss of a crown, loss of money, loss of life, illness. It's nothing to mess with. Lawsuits. So if this were your chart and we were looking at this together, what I would say to you is this is a time to not do anything legal, not to make large purchases. It is a call. And yeah, it can be brutal if it's a 10-year luck cycle. It is a challenge and a call to you to back your life up. Kind of like a Mercury retrograde. Everybody says back up your computer. I'd say back up life. Literally back up into the driveway, park the car. I think in life, astrology teaches us how to dance. So when the way is open, we move in and we flow. And you can feel that in your life. When the way is open, all of a sudden things are easy. Things just go snappity, snap, snap, snapping. But when something is not in alignment, you will meet obstacle after obstacle. And if you force it, the end result is never what you wanted. And often we wind up paying a price. Lawsuits, bankruptcy, losing money, losing face, losing your health because of the stress involved. And so there are moments in life like this for Andrew when the call, like looking at this chart, that piece about looking at his faith and looking at what can he learn is almost like going into exile. I would recommend this guy go into exile for 10 years. Go into a deep spiritual practice. Now, yeah, I know people have got to make money and go off into their day-to-day life. And so with a penalty like this, you're just a lot more mindful in your day-to-day. You're mindful in your interactions. You're mindful not to stir the pot when there is the potential for conflict. And you avoid things like lawsuits. You avoid things that are legal in nature. You avoid making massive purchases like a house or a car. Or instead of doing a trip to Europe, maybe you just do a road trip, something more local. You scale life way back. Show gratitude, recognize all that you have. And lean in deeply, heavily to your spiritual path, whatever that is for you. All right. This, Andrew's chart, I cannot, after this whole year of a snake, many of you have been feeling all of this. This chart so is emblematic, so states what a fire penalty can do for someone. So, the interesting piece is that this, starting November 8th, when we moved into the month of the pig, stabilizes the fire penalty. It squares the penalty up and creates a solid foundation. So he's got 4 weeks of possibly a respite to exhale a bit and find his bearings. But exiled is what I would say Andrew's life now is, Mr. Mountbatten Windsor. So until next time, friends, please be well.